You still what? Okay. Is everyone okay with being recorded? Okay.
All right.
Wait. Hey, Leslie, can you get me out of, for some reason, my computer's stuck. Can you get me out of, like, show me?
Mom, can I have this?
Oh, who's that? That's Allison's house, I think. Anywho, good afternoon. My name is Hpsd, and I'm the board president of the Hyde Park Historical Society. And before we get started with this exciting conversation, it's important for me to share a little bit about the society. The society was founded in 1975 to record, preserve, and promote public interest in the rich history of Hyde Park. We do this by hosting programs, having exhibits, publishing a newsletter and bulletin, and we're involved in a lot of local preservation activities and efforts. And we have a great and vibrant oral history, capturing oral history interviews. It's also important for us to note that the society is not only dedicated to exploring and sharing the history of the Hyde Park neighborhood, but also the many neighborhoods and communities that make up Hyde Park Township. We have a lot of exciting new things going on. We launched a new website, and I encourage all of you to become members and volunteer with the society and our continued efforts to better understand the world around us by looking to the past and being able to shape the future. With that said, I'm super proud to start this conversation. And traditionally in these kind of setups, we tend to, the moderator, facilitator introduces people, but I always think it's more insightful and helpful when someone introduces themselves, being able to share what they think is most important for us, the people that are here to hear them. So with that said, we're going to be hearing from the muse behind all of this and the founding board president, Marilyn Sheperd, LaWanda May, the executive director, Tracey Patterson, the current board president. And although she is not listed on the official flyer, I think it's important to hear from former student and prima ballerina and artist, I was gonna say art, I'm into art, but ballet and dance historian, Allison Ratliff. And I don't know, Dottie, I want to thank Dottie for making this happen also. If there's something I'm missing, Dottie, please feel free to jump in.
I think you've got it covered right now, and I look forward to the presentation.
Okay.
We will have a Q&A at the end, so.
Yes, and so Marilyn, if you can just introduce yourself, and we'll go around to all the speakers to introduce themselves and then start the conversation.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm Marilyn Sheperd, and as Clene said, I am the founding board president of this wonderful, magnificent school. You kind of put me on on notice here that I need to think about something that's about myself that I want to share with you. I no longer live in Chicago, but my roots are very much in Chicago. We moved to Chicago when I was a little girl. We lived on 52nd and Greenwood for many, many, many years. And when I had my family, we lived on 52nd and University, again, for many, many years. So I am certainly no stranger to Hyde Park. I come back all the time. There are a couple of people here, some of them little, others larger, that I like to come and visit. So I'm excited to share the story of the beginnings of the Hyde Park School of Dance. At the time, it was the Hyde Park School of Ballet. I just thought about that. But it's an exciting story, and I can't wait to share it with you. And I look at 1993 as the beginning date. It's almost 30 years. Oh my goodness, where did the time go? So I'll be happy to share the first part of the journey with you.
Thank you, Marilyn. LaWanda,
Good afternoon. My name is LaWanda May. I am the Executive Director at Hyde Park School of Dance. I have been in this role for 3 years, but prior to me taking on this role, I was a dance parent of 3 daughters who pretty much grew up at Hpsd. My oldest now has graduated. She started at 3 years old and she's graduated through Hpsd, and she's now in college and still doing some dancing. My middle one, she danced from 3 until 13 years old. And then I have my youngest one, who's 9, who is currently dancing. She started at 3 as well, and she's still dancing and taking as many dance forms as she possibly can. So we've been with the school for a really long time, which was one of the reasons why I was so excited to be a part of the organization in this capacity, because this has been home. It's been home for my family, for me, for many years. So I was really excited to be a part of the growth of the organization, which I have seen in the last 15 years, a lot of growth with Hpsd. And so after Marilyn speaks, I'm happy to share information in regards to our programming, the exciting news about our studio expansion, and just some growth opportunities that we see with Hpsd.
Thank you, LaWanda. Tracey?
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone, and happy Women's History Month. I think it's profound that we are here celebrating Hpsd with amazing women, founders. I am a native Chicagoan. I live in the South Loop, and I purposely chose Hyde Park as a place for my kids to be educated. They're at the University of Chicago Lab School. And when they were 3, purposely chose the Hyde Park School of Dance for them to cultivate their love of ballet. And they have been, similar to LaWanda, they have been at the school for over 13 years. And I have been a parent. I have been a member of our fundraising committee. I've been vice president of the board, and I currently serve as president of the board. And I just want to say that my passion for this school is because I have seen the impact that arts makes on not only creating great dancers, but great people. So really people who will grow up like Gail, Allison, there's so many that we can talk about today that are leaders in our community and leaders in the broader world. So that is why I dedicate myself to the school. So happy to be here with you. And I'd like to share after LaWanda, our goals for the next 30 years. So thank you for inviting us to be here.
Thank you, Tracey. Allison?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm actually excited to hear the history be told again, since I was pretty young when it started. I've served many roles in the school. I was one of the very first students. I think there were about 6 or 7 people in the class when I began. So first student of the school, came back and was a ballet teacher for the school. I served as Associate Artistic Director for about 10 years at the school. I now serve as Director of Community Engagement, and my favorite role I'm playing right now is my newest, and I am mother to 2 very young students at this school as well. So kind of been there from the beginning and been in a lot of different positions to witness the growth. So very excited to be here.
Thank you, thank you. So Marilyn, let's get started. How, why?
All of that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the story of the birth of the Hyde Park School of Dance didn't really start in Hyde Park. It started in the summer of 1993 on the near north side of Chicago at what was then the School of Chicago City Ballet. Now, the School of Chicago City Ballet was an important institution, arts institution here in the city because of its connection with the Chicago City Ballet. and the Chicago City Ballet was so important because it was started by Maria Dalchief. And she had created it in, I think, 1981. For those of you, I know, I'm sure probably everyone knows who Maria Dalchief is, but she's considered actually the first prima ballerina here in America. And that's probably her largest claim to fame, which is a huge deal. And she was also the first Native American. She's a member of the Osage tribe, to also hold this honor. So she's a big deal. And as a typical Hyde Park mother, it was the summer, and we Hyde Park moms are always looking for interesting, different kinds of things to keep our children occupied during the summer. And I was no exception. And I had heard about this school. My daughters had developed such a love of dance. I knew that we were going to be doing something with dance. And I thought, well, this sounds like something that would be really different and interesting. And to be able to say that you danced at Maria Dalchief's school, that sounds pretty impressive. So we did go there, and it was obvious after really a couple of classes that the school had fallen on some hard times financially. And actually, so much so that probably the school was going to be closing. In the meantime, while all this was happening, and I was thinking, what are we going to do now with the children for the rest of the summer? My daughters had developed this really, they had responded so enthusiastically to their teacher there, who happened to be a young woman from Kalamazoo, Michigan, by the name of August Ty. And August had bonded with the students. It was a small class. I think there were, as Allison said, maybe 6 or 7 students in that class. And they had all bonded together. And it seemed like the next step was going to be having to say goodbye to August, like with the scene in the movies or something, very dramatic and all. And that was really when the idea was born. I looked around, I was looking back, I thought, what on earth was I thinking? But I thought, why not start our own school? And why not take this energy, this spell, this inspiration that we got from learning about Maria Dalchief, why not take that back into Hyde Park? And to be able to bring that legacy to Hyde Park, it just danced in my head, and I couldn't let go of that. And I remember thinking this would be then a school that we're doing, and it's going to have a purpose, and it's going to have a pedigree. And that was really, really irresistible to me. So, and I have to add that as I was thinking about doing this, the timing was really perfect for it. Many of you will remember the Linhoff School of Dance. It was in Hyde Park for many, many years, established by Anna Linhoff, who did start it, I think, in the 50s. My children danced there, children all over Hyde Park danced. It was the place. Mrs. Linhoff was an accomplished dancer herself and had a history of that. And so it had become a real fixture in the community, and it was a wonderful, wonderful school for many years. There was talk that Mrs. Lindhoff was going to be retiring soon, and that would leave kind of a gap in a hole, really, in Hyde Park without having her there. So I thought those were very big shoes to fill, but I thought maybe if we bring a school here, we can fill those shoes and keep that tradition going. The thought of really not having dance in Hyde Park just didn't even sit well with me. So the dream continued. Let's fast forward a bit. And that young teacher from Kalamazoo agreed at my just really urging her that she would stay in Chicago and really create the programming and the curriculum for the new school, and really in doing that become the artistic director of the school. And she agreed to do that. And now all we needed was a place. And this is where I really have to pay homage to my church there, First Unitarian Church of Chicago. I was a longtime member there. And when I look back, I am just humbled and so grateful that they agreed, that they were willing to invest in what was at this point my dream, and to provide the space for the school to grow. And that's how we ended up there at First Unitarian Church. And I'm happy to say that we continue there. It's been our home. We've put a taproot down there. And it was from just the very beginning. I thought the space was perfect for us. For those of you who haven't been into the church, there's a huge room upstairs, a ballroom, if you will, called Woolman Hall. And that was our first place. That was where we did our first classes. There are all kinds of, crazy stories we could tell. We didn't exactly know what we were doing. No one was a business person. I remember my husband had suggested, you really should have a business plan. Well, who knew what that was? So we didn't have that. And through trial and error and lots of love and passion, pushing us forward when nothing else would, we got it up and running. I do have to tell you one story that at some point we were thinking, this isn't going to work. We don't have any money. Not that we ever had lots of money, but it was going to be possible that we just wouldn't be, everybody was out of money. So it was around Christmas, and it was our first Nutcracker. And Allison, I know you remember, you remember this, but we had maybe 15 or 20 students by that time. We had a person on the staff who was a wonderful, amazing seamstress, and I guess she's our costume mistress to this day, Jackie, who could whip out those tutus really fast. So we agreed that we would have little pieces, excerpts from the Nutcracker. We would invite parents in, everybody, including the dancers, everyone fit into Woolman Hall. So that's how small we were then. And we agreed that if we could get, I think it was $500 through this show, we could go on, we could continue. And we were going to do that by announcing that this would be the opportunity to pre-register your children for the next term. And if we said if we got enough people to do that, then we would go forward. And that is literally why we decided to go forward, because of that Nutcracker. And why, for me, the Nutcracker holds such a special place in my heart, because I don't know what we would have done had that not happened. So during that time, we created the first board. I think there were 5 of us on the board. I always like to tell students who look at the board and think, you know, boards are filled with lots of stuffy people and all, that we weren't that at all. And Tracey, I know you're not either, but we were small and mighty. We were instrumental, I would say, in helping to create the scaffolding to the Hyde Park School of Dance, and it's scaffolding that's durable and sturdy. And as I look around, I see that it has continued to stand up tall. And so we had several, I don't know, values that we knew that we were going to adhere to no matter what. And I think the first one was one that is still, I think, so important at the school, and that is that every individual, regardless of race, body type, age, sexual orientation, deserves a chance to dance. And this, for me, was so important at the beginning, and I think it continues kind of to be our gyroscope, if you will, that we look at our other values, but they live there with that notion that everyone deserves a chance to dance. That has lots of implications for, you know, scholarship support, for reaching out to people who don't look like us, who don't come from the same backgrounds, but that was extremely important to us as we started. And even with a smaller school at the time, maybe 20 or 30 students, we had a diverse group. We were very, very clear, and we would not budge on that if there are people who would want to come in and dance, we would figure out a way to make that happen. And I think we've done that. We also knew that we didn't just want to be in the community, we wanted to be of the community, to sound kind of trite, but it was true. We weren't there just to have the space. We were there to really participate in the community, and to really, to the extent that we could, to serve the community. And I think that that's something that still remains and is very important. I looked at the values statement on the website, and I was so excited to see that all of these things are still there. They're durable, they've remained, and I think what I see, and I've seen lots and lots of dancers at the Hyde Park School of Dance throughout almost 30 years. But I think what is important also is the notion that we are obviously there to train dancers, but that's not our, I don't think that that's our primary purpose. I think we want to develop character in our students. So we develop marvelous dancers, there's no question about that, but we develop even more marvelous, if that's a term, people. They are characters, they're characters, a lot of them, but they leave with character. They really, really do. So, and so at the risk of sounding, you know, hyperbolic about this or something, I do feel that our dancers, when they leave Hyde Park School of Dance, can go out and change the world. Change the world. And we have given them the tools to do that. And I think we can be really, really proud about that. And before I turn it over, I just also have to say it's impossible to talk about the school and its history without acknowledging August Ty. She, our artistic director, aside from being my partner in crime when we were doing this, she is the face of the school. And for 29 years, she's been what I call the school's North Star. And not many institutions can boast the kind of loyalty and longevity that she has demonstrated to us. So, and under her leadership, the school has witnessed lots and lots of growth. She was smart enough to also populate the staff with amazing people. And so I just want to give tip my hat to August too, because she's done a great job.
Thank you so much, Marilyn, for walking us through that. And thank you for creating a template, basically, which is now a national trend of having dance accessible to all people. So thank you for that. And I have some questions. I'm sure people will have questions for you. So LaWanda, do you mind stepping up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I loved hearing the beginning stories. It's just, and I think every time I hear it, I hear something new. I've spoken to Marilyn several times, and I just always hear something new and positive and heartwarming in regards to the school, which is, again, another reason why I love it. But from, those humble beginnings that Marilyn shared, we have grown just tremendously over the last 29 years. So from Allison and Gail's 6 to 7 classmate classes, we're now at enrollment of close to about 400 students, which is, we're inching back up to pre-pandemic numbers, which of course, I think in all organizations declined enrollment in all programming across all different arts organizations. But we have been truly blessed at Hyde Park School of Dance, and we have a wonderful community. We have wonderful families that have committed themselves to Hpsd, and I think everyone is ready to kind of get back to normal and find their footing again. So we have definitely increased our enrollment over this past year, and we are looking to continue to do so. Our numbers, our students, our dancers, they come from around 30 different zip codes throughout Chicago, suburbs, and even some in our neighboring states of Indiana. So we are lucky that we have been able to spread our services to so many, and this will include participation in our community engagement program, which I'll let Allison, of course, talk about a little bit later. But within our community of dancers, about 66% of our dancers are from the south side of Chicago, coming from Bronzeville, Hyde Park, Kenwood, South Shore, and the Woodlawn area. So that definitely is our focus, and we're happy to have those individuals with us. And then we also have about 10% of our student population who are on scholarship support. So again, as Marilyn was saying about our mission and our vision, we want to make sure that anyone who has that love and that passion and the want to to dance have an opportunity to, and that economic barriers are reduced as much as possible. As far as our current class offerings, from ballet, we've expanded out to our modern curriculum. We have creative movement to pre-ballet, which are 3-year-olds to our 7-year-olds. We also have first steps, which are our babies who are not ready to be in the class with Allison or August yet by themselves, but with their caregivers. So from 18 months to 3 years old, we have a parent or guardian toddler class to introduce them to some creative movement and just really getting ready to dance at 3 years old without their parents. We have modern jazz, hip hop, breaking, tap, belly dancing, West African. We have teen adult ballet, and also our pre-professional youth companies. So we have expanded a variety of dance forms, which we're super proud of at Hpsd, because I do believe we're one of the dance schools that have the most variety in our dance techniques in Chicago. So we're happy that anyone who is interested in dance, hopefully they can find a home and a space here at Hpsd. In 20, I think it was 2000, what are we in? 22 now, right? So about 2020, we were renewing our lease at the First Unitarian Church, and the church surprised us and told us that the upstairs space was becoming vacant and asked if we were interested in expanding our footprint at the church. And we said, yes, of course. We've been wanting to do that for a long time. I know that has been August's vision. I know Marilyn has talked about that. I know Troy has talked about that over the years. And when that opportunity presented itself, it was a dream come true. And so during that time, we had many conversations. We were able to receive an anonymous donation from a family who had deep roots with Hpsd, and to help us realize the renovation of Hpsd. And we were able to open up 3 additional studio spaces, office space, storage space, which is upstairs on the same level that Woolman Hall is on. It's just in the other wing, the north wing of the dance of First Unitarian Church. So now, from the humble beginnings of 1 studio space in Woolman Hall, we now have 5 studios at the First Unitarian Church, with 4 being upstairs, 1 being downstairs. We have several restrooms, and it's been amazing where we've been able to spread out and be able to offer many, and that's why we're able to offer as many dance forms and space as possible. We were also very blessed that we received donations to help outfit the different spaces. So with Marley and ballet bars and pianos, so all of those things, of course, is an added expense to the renovation. But we were definitely lucky to be able to receive some donations to help support that. The process was about a 6-month active renovation process in order to get all of the studio spaces together. But we were ready to go this past fall of September 2021, before classes started. We were up and ready with 5 studio spaces. So we're really happy about that. And I think the dancers are truly excited about that as well. As far as the future growth and goals of Hpsd, I just have a few things that I know August and I have both been talking about and brainstorming about, and just trying to figure out, working with the board on, how we can make some of these things happen. We would love to have more professional companies and residents at the dance school, and during daytime hours, we have most of our studio space that we would like to rent out is in the daytime, because of course our classes take place between from 3 p.m. until about 8 p.m. So we are open to renting out studio space in the daytime. We have a couple companies that rent space or use our space in the daytime, but that is a program that we would like to continue to expand, because we do want to be an organization that is open to partnerships and collaborations with other organizations. We also want to grow our other dance technique programming, our jazz and studio hip hop, where we have different levels. And we really want to do that because everyone is not interested, or they don't want to progress in ballet. We have several students who are interested in other dance techniques and forms. So we want to make sure that, again, they feel that they have a home at Hpsd, and they're not just taking one class and that's it. We have a very strong curriculum in ballet that they can progress through, and we like to mirror that with our other dance forms. We'd like to grow our adult programming as well. We do offer dance programs for adults, and that is, you don't have to be a dancer by trade or anything like that. So you can take ballet progressions, you can take West African, you can take Pilates. We have other opportunities, Silver Swans for our mature audiences and dancers. So we have a lot of opportunities for anyone from the age of 3 all the way up to take part in our dance programs. We would like to also continue making sure that our dancers develop the strength and that is required for dance, and in doing that, just developing the programming, the Pilates and floor bar that are injury prevention classes, so that it will educate dancers in regards to their bodies and how to prevent injuries when they're dancing. So we do have those programs here, and we want to continue to strengthen those programs so that our dancers know that it's really required for them to understand all of these different aspects of dance so that they can take care of their bodies. And we also would love to be able to create a new story ballet that utilizes all styles of dance, and collaborating with other organizations, particularly Southside organizations. And I think that we will have that opportunity sooner rather than later. So please be on the lookout for that. I would like to plug our spring concert, which we are happy to be back in the theater on Sunday, May 15th. We will be at the Museum of Science and Industry. We haven't had a theater spring concert in 2 years, and this is an opportunity for all of our classes from our 3-year-olds up to participate in the spring concert. So we will be putting information about that out, and our summer programming starts in June as well. So if you know anyone who is interested, we have 2 4-week sessions starting in June that runs through August. So please take a look at our website. We're happy to answer questions, but I wanted to make sure I left some time for Tracey also to just talk about the future growth of Hpsd.
That's great. And before we do that, thank you so much, LaWanda. I want to make sure we give Allison a chance to talk about our community impact, because it has been profound over the last 20 years. So Allison, over to you, and then I can wrap up.
Thank you, Tracey. I'm really excited to talk about our community engagement program. We have had a phenomenal year. It's been amazing, a lot of work, but just, I think, a wonderful way to get our school not only into Hyde Park, but we've been able to get into many different communities around the city. I took over the community engagement program about 10 years ago, and just wanted to mention, since then, we have been very generously sponsored by the Joseph Kelman Family Foundation. And so they have made much of our work possible, and they continue to support us every year. And this year, their support is making really amazing things happen in our program. Right now, we are serving around 150 students in the Chicago area outside of our school. Started about 18 years ago, and I do see Mary Anton on the call. I consider her my partner in crime on the board in terms of community engagement, because she's always supporting me and helping me and telling me to make things bigger. But I believe it's about 18 years ago we started with Bret Hart, and we are very happy that we are still there and have a great program going there. We're in Ancona, which is in the neighborhood lab. And then another one of our long-running programs is Marquette Park, which is a park district. And that was one of our first sites as well, which we started with just one ballet class, and we're now at 4 classes there. We're teaching tap, ballet, and modern. So really excited about the growth of that program. This year, I've been thrilled to add Ray School to our list of partners. I am a Ray graduate, as is my sister. We have many students who attend Ray, and it's also about a block away from the school. So it just made sense to make them one of our partners. We're there several days a week, which we've enjoyed. We've added Hersel, we've added Cather. So we've added many different schools this year as well. And again, thanks to the Joseph Kelman Family Foundation, we will be able to have our community engagement students performing this year at our annual spring concert. So our students from Bret Hart and Ray will be there. Super excited to have them involved with the programming and bring them back in. We also have been really excited to get back into community events that we've been participating in for a while. The Hyde Park Book Fair has always been one of our favorite times to get out in the community and show the school off a bit. I've been told the 4th of July parade will be going back again, and we'll be hopefully on a float, dancing and performing there a bit. This summer, you'll also find us at some of the various farmers markets around the city, performing Silver Room Block Party if they continue to come back. We've done that for many, many years. And one of our favorite partnerships has been Dance in the Parks, being able to get out there and show our dancers off around different parks in the community. Coming up, we will be at the Chicago Children's Museum with some class offerings, as well as some performances. So we just have a lot of things going on, trying to engage the community. And also, it's beautiful to give our students a chance to just perform and see the community in which we are here to serve as well. So again, it's been a great year. I've been really, really excited. The growth has been pretty big this year, which was really inspiring, I think, for the school after coming out of COVID and just having, everyone having a hard time with that, but just seeing these programs take off right away. It's been great. We also, and this year, thanks to many donations, we'll be able to bring a few of our community engagement students to the studio in the summer. So we'll be able to support them joining in some of our classes at the school. So very excited about that as well. But for me, I just see this as one of the very important programs going on at Hyde Park School of Dance. I'm really thrilled to be leading it and hoping to continue the growth that we have seen. I think it's a really important part of the school to make sure we continue to reach out to our community and others as well. And as was mentioned before, art is extremely important for children for many, many different reasons. And so I see it as, for me, one of the big missions of Hyde Park School of Dance is to provide that art to all children, regardless of where you live, how you look, your income, means, all of that. I think it is part of our mission to get out there and make sure we provide exposure to the art that we all love at Hyde Park School of Dance, which is dance.
Thank you, Allison and Tracey.
Yes, and so I will be brief because we actually wanted to surprise you and show you, bring to life what we've been talking about with a short video. So I don't know if we'll have time for that because I know we want to get to questions. But as you know, we're celebrating a big milestone next year, which is 30 years. So everything that Marilyn in August started and now to where we are, 30 years later, we're still living the mission and vision that you set out to have for the school. And so as a board president and with my amazing board, we have 3 goals in mind. Number 1, we want to launch a historic campaign, fundraising campaign, to raise almost $300 million for the school that will help to bring to life what Allison just said. We want to reach more students. We want to make sure our space is fully utilized. We want to bring in even more interesting programming. And so we are, with our 30-year anniversary, launching up on this very significant fundraising campaign that we actually will start on May 26th. Second, we want to begin to tell the story of Hyde Park School of Dance in a more profound way. You heard earlier that we're building future leaders, and we have very powerful story. You heard Allison's story. Gail is both a physicist, a professor, and an artistic director. We have lots of students who have gone on to study at top universities around the country, Harvard, MIT, Columbia, and have come back into the Hyde Park community to be able to share their gifts. And then I want to share that this year, and Allison and I are so proud of this fact, Allison and Tiana have both built dancers that have qualified for the most amazing summer intensive programs in the country. 4 of our dancers are going to top schools, the Pacific Northwest Ballet, the Boston Ballet. We were at the San Francisco Ballet to train in the summers and bring that excellence right back into the Hyde Park School of Dance. So we are excited. We're doing the work. We are living the vision of having very serious, wonderful students who are leaders, right, in the community and in the broader world. So we have to tell that story, get that story out there in a more profound way. And then thirdly, we want to tighten our relationships and partnerships in the Hyde Park community. So over the last few years, we have tightened up our relationship with Hyde Park Bank. We're looking at MAC properties. There's so many places. We've had a great relationship with the University of Chicago and Medici. But as we think about our goals and other institutions that share our passion and our mission and vision, we want to see how we can work more closely together. So lots more to come. We thank you for inviting us to be here. I want to be respectful for questions. So if we want to maybe send the video out after the call, that's fine. And we'll just stand by for questions.
All right. Thank you, Tracey. I'm going to be a little selfish and start off a question. And it's it's anyone can kind of answer it, but I think more so Marilyn, definitely Allison. I'll start with Allison. You are a professionally trained dancer, a ballet historian. One thing you shared with me, I think it's super important that we talk about this, is the work that the school and you in particular you've done to address these inherent kind of systems that can be make it more difficult for people, a diverse group of people, to get into ballet. So case in point, even what you put on your body, dance shoes, matching the skin, your tone. I don't want to butcher the terms of like the ballet shoes and stuff and point shoes, but if you can talk a little bit about, as a dancer, and maybe Marilyn, was that going in your head when you were developing those initial programs and I don't know, even bylaws of this idea of accessibility, diversity, and knowing that, I guess, on the market, it would be hard. What's perceived or defined as flesh color, right? So if you could kind of talk about that, because the school's been so instrumental in pushing that history out and then changing it. So. You want to start, Allison?
Sure, yeah, I can start. I don't know if my mom knows she's muted. Okay, sure, I definitely can start. I think that Hyde Park School of Dance has been great because I think that we have tried our best to be leaders and kind of making ballet specifically, because that's the dance form that has been the least accessible to diverse communities, accessible. And we've tried to do things that are just really visible to the students and community. One of them is allowing, or I wouldn't say allowing, my students would say requiring. So we require the dancers to have shoes and tights that match their skin tone. And I think when we first introduced this, and I will be honest, we got this idea at the school because my sister and I danced at a school, Homer Bryant. It's Bryant Ballet. I think they've changed their name several times. But we went there for a while and we had to wear tights and shoes that matched our skin tone, and they weren't pink. And it was the first time I'd been in a classroom and said, oh, this makes sense to me. Like my whole body matches. I don't have a brown face and then pink feet and legs. Like now I just look like a complete person, and I felt way more comfortable in class. It made sense to me. I felt more embraced in the art form. And so Gail and I think, brought that back to August when we came back and said, as Black dancers, this was impactful for us. And so it was quickly adopted by Hyde Park School of Dance that our students would wear skin tone shoes and tights. And just to give a quick history of that, traditionally dancers were all pink. The theory being that in dance, you want to have a nice long line. So from your fingers to your toes. And ballet started in Europe. Most of the dancers were white, and you'll hear, quotes from the history of ballet. Dancers' skin tone should be the color of a freshly peeled apple. That's the history of dance. And so the tights and shoes were made to match that skin tone, which was just a nice pale pink to go with the dancers. And it was adopted and kept going, even as dancers started changing and dance started changing, that didn't change. And so I think, we've been at the forefront of things like that. We are changing that, right? Your skin tone is your skin tone, and we want to celebrate that and highlight that when you see our dancers going around. I also think we've been great in having teachers that are just visible to our students. Our teachers have Black ballet teachers, right? They've had an Asian ballet teacher. They've had lots of diverse faculty coming and going as well, which I think is empowering and important for them to see. And lastly, I'd just like to mention, when you come see our shows, you will see our Black ballerinas, our Asian ballerinas, our Indian ballerinas. Yes, all of these dancers with lead roles, beautiful dancers on stage, which I know trickles down to our littlest dancers, and they see that. They see the Sugar Plum Fairy looks like them. Yes, they see Waltz of the Flowers leads look like them. And so I think it's a really important part of what we do now. And I know that we're still open because the work is not done at all, not even close to being done. And so we know that we have to continue to do the work and continue to figure out ways to make sure we're inclusive of other dancers. And Mom, you can talk about that was on your radar as you started.
Yeah, it was definitely on our radar. And thank you for so fully describing that, because now I can sort of talk about hair, which I think is another area in which we have met challenges, and frankly and honestly, I don't know if we've figured it out yet. I don't know what the requirements are now, but I do know that that was an area that promised to be, kind of controversial, if you will, but with students. Not everybody has to have a bun. Not everybody can have a bun on their head. Not everyone can, slick their hair back, nor does everyone want to slick their hair back. So, and I think that the extent to which we honor that, I think is good for us. I have not checked recently. I do remember that we struggled with that. We struggled with that as a school, I think, for a time. And it has probably, I'm fairly confident, been resolved. But when you think of diversity, I remember those point shoes and going to buy the makeup to color them, and to be just really happy for Allison and Gail that they were able to do that, and that they then would be able to see themselves, as Allison said, as one continuous beautiful brown line. So again, I hope that the hair issue is also resolved, because dancers are beautiful no matter what their hair looks like. And that's my own little opinion interjected into that.
I will say, just for everyone's reference, the hair issue has been addressed by us, and
Good.
Gail's on the call, but Gail was one of our faculty members, and she did come up with some really great language that I know I saw yesterday made a big difference with our dancers. You know, a lot of times they'll say, slick your hair back so it looks nice and straight, and a lot of our dancers have natural hair, they have braids, they can't, that's not what their hair is going to look like. And so Gail came up with great terms, like now we say to the dancers, secure your hair off your face, right? It doesn't have to be slick, it doesn't have to be flat, it just can't be falling in your eyes as you're dancing. So we say secure your hair as best you can. To my dancers yesterday, I just had the conversation with them, just pull it off your face. It can be curly and beautiful, but it just can't be falling in your face. I stopped using the word bun as much, where I just say put like a circular mask on the back of your head and just pen it in as best you can. So we've made a really big effort with that, but I will say that did start with the faculty. Gail sent a document out with saying, instead of saying slick, say secure. You know, we don't say now put gel in your hair, wet your hair, and then put hairspray. We've been just really cognizant of everyone having their own hair, their own texture, and it's all beautiful. So we like to keep that, just keep it out of your face.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to open up for quick questions, Q&A, and Tracey, we're going to go ahead and I will send out the video to all the registrants. And so to save time, to make sure everyone has an opportunity to ask questions. Okay. So if anyone has any questions? Hold on.
I think Kathy has a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hoff, and I'm on the board of the Hyde Park Historical Society. And I'm interested in helping you tell your story, because I'm co-chair of the Oral History Project and the Oral History Committee. So at some point, I'd like to connect with you all, because we have a tagline. I don't know if Clint and the other board have heard me say this, but our tagline is everybody has a story to tell, and clearly you all have one. So we would like to interview some of you all, and also provide an opportunity for students to tell their stories, as well as staff, teachers. So I'm offering that opportunity to partner or collaborate with us here at the Hyde Park Historical Society through the Oral History Project.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We would love to participate, and are grateful that you'll help us tell our story. So we'll be in touch.
I'll put my email and phone number in the chat. Okay.
Thank you.
Roy?
I'm a little bit hesitant to join this Women's Club meeting as I look around here, but I thought I'd make
Definitely not a woman's club meeting. Definitely
I'm sorry.
not. Okay.
I'll hear about this later. Okay, but we'll say, Marilyn, my admiration for what you did is unbounded. And I think you're very kind when you said the only thing I said was you ought to have a business plan. The fact is, when I guess the 25th anniversary, they came and said, we want to honor you, Troy, for your role at the start of the school. My role was standing behind Marilyn, whispering in her ear, you can't do this. Are you crazy? You'll never get it done. That was my contribution. Marilyn continued to work at it. And Marilyn, you condensed that whole part of getting started into such a short story. But I remember those meetings in our living room when you and those ladies had to work so hard, and when there was a struggle there, and you kept going. My admiration for what you did there knows no bounds. I think that when I look at the school now and see where it is, that you have the right to be extremely proud of the fact that you wouldn't listen to me, that you wouldn't be stopped by others, that you were determined you were going to get this done in spite of the various naysayers that were around. The other thing I want to say, and I'll just say this briefly because of my experience with our daughters dancing, you didn't talk about body type and our experience with in the area of ballet, especially the need to have a certain body type and how we've played against this. And maybe you or Allison, just a brief comment on that, please.
Yeah, I thank you, Troy, for bringing that up, because that is so crucial. And sometimes even more so than the hair or the color of the point shoes and all is this whole notion of your body type, because you carry your body type around with you, and there isn't a lot that you can do to change it. So I think that from the very beginning, we sent the message out that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have, legs up to your ears and these thin arms and all of that doesn't matter. And what is important is not how you look with it, but what you're able to do and the kind of respect you can put on your body is the most important thing. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that. Allison has been more in the trenches with it. And some of it has to do with just being a kid growing up, and the whole issue of how your body looks becomes very important to you for a number of reasons. But I think, and Allison, feel free to jump in, we've been fairly successful at letting students know the importance of taking care of your body, not so much the shape of it. And if you look at so many of our dances, I think about the Nutcracker, we've had dancers who are wonderful of all shapes and sizes. And that's the trend in dance today, period. Anyway, the whole notion that you have to be thin and tiny and wispy has really gone out the window, which thank goodness. Allison, you want to jump in?
Absolutely. I think that is one of our most important messages to our dancers, and all of the artistic directors in the school and teachers are committed to making sure our dancers know that. Ms. Tiana and I teach the upper level classes in the advanced company. And that has definitely been our message to everyone. We just did a little session where we got to talk about other companies and dancers. And one of the companies we talked about was Alvin Ailey. And he did this amazing piece called Hymn, Hymn. And actually the whole piece is about that. And it's actually set to an interview he did, and you just hear his voice over and over again, and he's talking and speaking about his dancers. But one of the most poignant parts is where he says, I do not teach bodies, I teach spirits. So I'm not worried about their bodies, I'm teaching spirits, and that's what I see. And I think that's really relevant to what we are trying to tell them. We're not looking at perfect bodies, we're looking at spirits and humans, and we want you to be able to feel comfortable in your movement and your body. And that's been huge for us. I think as a school, we absolutely encourage dancers to be your best, whatever that is.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh.
Yeah. I was wondering what you see as the really biggest challenges that you're facing now. I mean, we're kind of coming out of this COVID area, which has been horrible. And you're describing really wonderful progress. And I've been a distant admirer for a long time.
That's Margaret.
Yes.
Margaret, I think the COVID pandemic, really forced a lot of us to go digital fast. We had to quickly pivot to doing classes, remotely. And so it forced us to build up our technical abilities of the studios, our ability for our teachers to have the right, equipment and supplies. And so I think now, we're really thinking about post-COVID, how do we continue to make sure that we stay technologically relevant too, right? Because in a space where really dance has been in-person instruction, can we see ourselves being successfully if we ever needed to go hybrid again? Right. And then, as you know, a lot of dance schools, particularly in the Chicago area, didn't survive. Like Hyde Park School did. And so now we are trying to make sure that we tell our stories, stay relevant, and get our tuition, both our tuition and our class levels back to pre-pandemic and more. And then we are also trying to make sure that in the midst of additional Southside community dance institutions, we differentiate ourselves. We really show the diversity in our dance styles, our ability to look across all ages and really provide that level of programming to a wider audience. So, the landscape has changed, the digital technology has changed from everything from teaching through marketing, and the types of students have changed, and so we want to continue to be flexible and agile in how we respond to all of those things.
I'm impressed.
Any other questions? No?
Oh, just one other clarifying point. I think I had mentioned our fundraising campaign, and we will tell you more about this as we start to really get that underway. It's 300,000, not 300 million, by the way. I probably scared Mary to death. Mary's like, oh my God, she's gonna, like this is gonna be impossible to do. But
the only word I'm going to say is yes, you did scare me. Thank you. Oh, secondly, I think the second word I'm going to say is August Ty isn't on this call because August has a very busy life, and she is also the ballet mistress of the lyric opera, where she also has done choreography. So her schedule was really, as much as I think she would have loved to have been here, she's not here today. She's working at the lyric. Thanks.
Yeah. And she's here in spirit, and definitely sends her thanks to allowing the Hyde Park School of Dance story to be told.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing, especially Marilyn and all the participants, and Tracey and LaWanda and Allison. Thank you. And again, we encourage you to partner with us in different ways and become members. And we are doing some really exciting things at the Historical Society, and we're always open to having exhibits and programs. And so definitely, and as we safely reopen, stop by the Cable Car House, our headquarters. It's a very darling space, and we look forward to strengthening our relationship. So thank you for sharing.
And Clene, thank you. Really, this was just a great idea and a great opportunity for us. And we hope you think it was a great opportunity for you guys as well. So let's do some more stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you everyone. Have a great day and look forward to seeing you in the near future.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.